Today in this video, we want to go over the footwork details for the form Naguru. Now, once you've gotten the basic pattern of Naguru down, this is the next step in your progression towards getting promoted, right? Getting your basic footwork down. Now, as you go throughout this form, it almost always ends up in the same place, right? So we're going to go over that quickly together, right? And that's when you end up basically in a fighting stance with a cross out. Things that we're going to look for in this is that you have a little bit of length to your stance, but not a lot, and not too little. It's a balancing act where you feel like you could generate force forward, but maintain balance. You want both knees bent, both feet pointing straight. So as I turn this way, you can see there's a little bit of width to my stance. It's not super wide, right? My feet are kind of underneath my hips, right? My feet are straight, good posture, right? Ready to throw a punch, nice and strong. Almost every step ends in that position. Not all of them, but a lot of them do, right? The real trick becomes then, how do we get there as we go through the various steps of the form? That's what we're going to go over together now. So we're going to go through each step of the form, show it to you a couple different directions, right? At the end of the video, you're going to be able to see the form, and you can look at the footwork from all the angles, from the side, from the front, from the back. But for now, I'm going to be mirroring, and you can see this. So as you do the form, the first thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be stepping to the right, right? And what I want to do is I want to cross my left foot in front of my right foot, right? So I'm going to cross over, and then I'm going to reach. When I reach, I have both feet pointing straight. And then as I do the movements, the block and the punch, both feet turn to my right, your right. Right? So if you watch that again, it's cross in front, uncross and reach, block and punch. Now as I go to do two, I do almost the same thing. The difference is I cross behind. So I cross behind, reach my foot. When I reach my foot, I should have both feet pretty much pointing straight this way. This foot needs to be straight, this one can be a little bit off, right? And then I turn high block and punch. They end up straight to the side. Now I'm going to show you that from the side view, right? I'm going to do right, then left. So I break first. My feet are pretty much even. You can see that, right? I look, I set my hands, I cross. My foot, you can see, goes in front. Next, my right foot reaches a little bit back. You can see that there's a little bit of a gap this way. So when I turn, I have that width to my stance that we talked about earlier. Right? Now as I go back the other way, and as I'm going to my left, you can say a step behind. And again, it's not going to be perfectly straight. It's hard to get your body there. But as you reach to here, and I turn 1, 2, my feet are both pointing straight to what would be your left. And then from here, I just transition into a fighting stance. It's pretty simple. That transition is going to be slightly different depending on your body type. So for some people, they need to step to get into a good fighting stance. Some people, they can just twist to go into a good fighting stance. Whichever one you need to do, you would move your left foot and let your right foot kind of just twist into position. Okay? So that's the first section. The second section probably has one of the trickiest footwork components in it, right? Because there's kind of a timing that's relatively delicate. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it mirroring, right? Start off in my fighting stance. I have that width. You can see a little bit of daylight between my legs there, right? When I jump out of the way, I actually have to move. So if you can see there's a line right underneath of me, I actually want to jump and move away from that line. And I end up basically in a horse stance. So I do my palm heel, and I bring it back. My weight actually shifts backwards. Because what I'm doing is I'm kind of pulling them, and by shifting all my weight onto my right leg, it lets my left leg step, right? 'Cause if I have both feet planted on the floor, it's hard to move this foot, but if I lean this way now, I can move it backwards. You can say I reach, and I turn, and I end up in that same position like I was doing a punch, only I'm doing a backwards Cody Dash takedown. Okay. Then from here, I'm going to walk away. I take my front foot. This will be your left foot. You cross your left foot, and now you're going to jump. Now you can see, once again, I'm standing over this line. When I jump, I'm going to end up on the side of the line, because it's like someone's trying to stab me, I get out of the way, push their hand, shift my weight back. You'll see this better on the second view. Transition my foot out and turn. My feet point straight. Okay, so let's take a look at it from the other point of view. Right, you're not going to be able to see as well the jumping out of the way, but you'll be able to see that kind of transition of weight to let me move my foot. I'm in my fighting stance, I jump, move out of the way. You can see as I'm here, you can see my body shifting. As I come here, this foot naturally kind of lifts up, it reaches back, and I shift my weight forward, right, into that foot. You can see both knees are bent, this heel is elevated, this one is flat. Right? As I go to walk away, I cross over, and I jump out of the way. I end up pushing, shifting my weight back, open up, and I go into that kind of fighting stance-esque position. Then I'm going to cross, walk away, cross my front foot, my right foot, and I break. Okay, now what I would recommend to you is, that's particularly tricky. You can pause this, practice it as many times as you need to, and rewind. But for now, we're going to keep moving along into the next section of the form. But again, if you were learning this, I would say, hey, let's pause and do that a couple times. But otherwise, we're going to keep moving. Right? So the next point of the form is I do a break. And here I am. I've done the break. What's next? I'm going to be stepping back, and I'm going to be coiling a little bit. I'm going to take my right foot, I'm going to step back, and when I put it back, my foot is heel up on my back foot. My front foot is heel down. My weight is shifted completely onto my lead leg. As I throw my hook, my weight transitions across, and my feet turn that way, and you can see my heel pops up on my front foot. And then as I throw my cross, my weight transitions back, and this heel pops down, and this heel pops up. Right? So that's a little bit confusing. I can do the same thing on the other side. My hands come up. I step back. My weight is on my front foot. I'm going to transition my weight over here. Both feet turn to the side. Right? And then as I throw the cross, they turn forward again. You can see my toes are straight. All right? So we're going to take a look at this from the side view. Feel free to follow along. All right? So I do my break. I bring my hands up. I step back. My weight is twisted onto my left front foot. I'm going to shift my weight so I can do my hook. My feet have turned to my right, and then they turn straight again as I do the cross. Right? Then my hands come up as I step back. My weight is on my lead leg. Right? Feet are both pointing pretty much straight. I turn, I throw my hook. My feet are turned to my left relative to my starting position, right? And then they point straight again. Okay? You should end up in that same stance that we've been doing in, well, basically every stance, right? You want to have that back heel up, front foot flat, knees bent. Okay? Again, if you want to go back and pause this, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, we're going to keep moving along and go into where probably one of the steps is easy, one of the steps is hard. Right? It's actually 3 steps. One of them is pretty easy. I guess the third one's pretty easy too. Anyway, so let's say I just did my hook cross, Now, I need to be able to spin down. I want to show you this one from the side first. I'm going to be taking what is my front foot. I'm going to be bringing it way back behind me. And it's going to be a little bit open. You'll see that better from the other point of view. Right? And then I'm going to twist down and punch. I should have my heel underneath of my knee. In this back foot, I have my toes curled underneath of my foot. I don't want my foot flat like this because it won't let me move. I want it curled underneath of me like that. And I have this punch out. Now, when I go to do this spin, I have to put all my weight onto this leg. This foot basically stays in the same place. I'm pivoting on the ball of this foot as best I can. My left leg is going to swing all the way around and end up over there. Right, so it spins all the way around, go just like that. Okay? And again, you can see my ankle is underneath of my knee. My toes are curled underneath of my foot. And I've thrown my punch. Now, when I go to get up, I have to tuck this right foot underneath of me. Because if I just stand up here, I'm going to be twisted. But if I tuck my foot underneath, it lets me stand up into a fighting stance and have a little bit of width. You're going to see that better from this next point of view. So, here we are. I'm going to actually do this so I spin towards the camera. Okay? So I just did my cross. You can see there's a little bit of width to my stance, right? Actually, hold on. Foot cross, foot cross. Yes, I'm in the right place. I'm going to take my right foot. I'm going to spin, and it's going to come not just even with this foot. See how it's right by the line? I'm not going to end up on that line. I'm going to go past the line, all the way over here, and then spin on the balls of my foot and punch. Right? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to just straddle this line on purpose so you can see it. As I do the next move, this foot is currently, my left foot is currently on one side of the line, my right foot's on the other. When I spin around, they're going to be straddling in the same sides, just that my left foot ends up moving forward. So as I come around, weight shifts here, I spin all the way around, and I end up like this, right? And I throw my punch. Okay, now this might be a little bit tricky for you and confusing in terms of which side is first, right or left. So you know, your right foot is the first one that spins, your left foot spins next. Now as I go to stand up, I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see my feet better. You can see there's this daylight between my feet, right? If I just stand, I end up twisted and oriented that way. So I need to tuck this foot underneath of me. You can see it went back there, it's hiding, right? So when I stand up, I'm in a more natural fighting stance. You may have to wiggle your foot a little bit. Small wiggle, not terrible. Big steps, not so good, right? So that's a little bit of a tricky section of the form to teach and to learn. But if you need to practice it, feel free to. Otherwise, let's go on to what's really the last section of the form, right? I will be mirroring this section so you can follow along with me. Set yourself up in a fighting stance. You should have your right leg in front. As I throw my jab, I'm going to step with my right foot, like we normally do on a jab, right? So you have this little step. When I throw the cross, I'm not going to just twist, I'm going to step, right? So it's a bit of a march. And then I reset back. And if you watch it one more time, it's going to be right foot, left foot, right foot. One more time. Right, left, right. Now I'm going to switch my feet. When I switch my feet, my back foot comes up to my front foot. And when I do that, I actually bend my knees and then switch to the other side. Otherwise, this is a normal fighting stance. So watch it one more time. I step in and I step back. This little fake forward. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, jab cross on the other side. It's going to be left foot steps, right foot steps. I end up in that same position we've been talking about. Knee bent, feet straight, step back, right, left. Now, at this point in the form, if you roll on your left side, you're not going to switch your feet, you're just going to roll. If you roll on your right side, you're going to switch just like we did before. You bring your foot together, you bring it back. You're in your fighting stance on the other side, and then you do the roll. I'm not going to go over the footwork on how to do a roll with you today, right? Because most of the time when you're practicing this at home, I recommend against doing the roll. Just skip it, right? If you want to do the roll and you qualified, great, but like I said, we're not going to go over those details. I want to show you the same footwork from the side now. Right? So I was just here, right? I did my punch, I stood up in my fighting stance. You see there's some distance, my right foot's forward a little bit. I'm going to move a little bit this way so you can see me. As I go to do my right jab, it's right step, left step forward. I don't let them come to all the way even, right? But it definitely is underneath of me, right? I don't have like a more traditional lunge kind of position. It's much more underneath of me. I step back with my left, my right. Now when I go to do this switch, you'll see my feet come together. They don't cross. I'm on the other side. The same idea. I step with my left, step with my right. Both feet are straight. Knees are bent, the same position we've been in, I don't know, about 12 times in this form already. And then step back. And then you switch again. And once more, I'm not going to go over the footwork detail on your roll, but you can roll. If you have a good space to do it, you can do the break. One thing I should mention, you shouldn't be doing that backpedaling thing. After I did my roll, I should just stand up. I was backpedaling because I was like, am I in the picture? Can you guys see me? I don't know. So I backed up a little bit, but you shouldn't do that. You should just roll, get up, and break. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the form 3 times for you guys to watch from different angles. Feel free to follow along and copy and do it with me, right? Or go back however you want to. That's the great thing about classes on demand. You can pause, rewind, whatever works for you to go over the details you have questions about, right? Look forward to seeing you in class soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.